Yo guys, what is good? It's Cameron from Deck Builders here, and today we'll bring you guys the Dinosaur deck. Now this is the #1 most played deck on all Yu-Gi-Oh simulators out there. So that kind of insinuates that this deck is OP, somewhat expensive, and very, very fun. Now pretty much the game plan to this deck is you summon out Ultimate Tyranno and then pretty much you win. Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, he's just a beast. You get out Conductor and then you win. You just win. You just flip everyone to face down, deal 1000 damage, OTK your opponent, say goodbye, GG, game over. But before we get into the deck list, I would really appreciate if you guys hit that like, subscribe button, comment down below your favorite card in this deck. Most likely it's going to be Conductor, but you guys might like a different card. Maybe it's because of the artwork, the effect, anything like that. But either way, let's get straight into the deck list. Okay, so first up, we're obviously running 3 copies of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Now, I heard rumors that if you're not running 3 copies of this card, you're not really playing a true dinosaur deck. So pretty much the effect of this card is, cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be special summoned from your hands by banishing 2 dinosaur monsters from your graveyard. Once per turn during either player's main phase, you can destroy 1 monster in your hand or field, and if you do, change all other face-up monsters on your opponent controls to face down defense position. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each at the start of the damage step. If this card attacks a defense position monster, you can inflict 1000 damage to your opponent, and if you do, send that defense position monster to the graveyard. So pretty much you can instantly get rid of your entire opponent's board. Plus it's also a card with 3500 attack, that's not that difficult to summon in this deck. Next, we're running 3 copies of Soul Eating Oviraptor. Now, this card's a beast for getting out Conductor. Its effect, if this card is normal summoned or special summoned, you can take 1 dinosaur monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. You can target 1 other level 4 or lower dinosaur monster on the field, destroy it. Then special summon 1 dinosaur type monster from your graveyard in defense position. You can only use the effects of Soul Eating Oviraptor once per turn. Next, we're running 3 copies of Miscellaneous Resource. Now with this card, during either player's main phase, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. During this main phase, dinosaur type monsters you control are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. You can banish any number of dinosaur type monsters from your graveyard, including this card. Special summon 1 dinosaur type monster from your deck with a level equal or lower to the number of monsters banished to activate this effect, but destroy it during the end phase. You can only use the effect of Miscellaneous Saurus once per turn. Now I know a lot of people use these cards to do crazy combos, but me personally, I really just send it to the graveyard to be able to summon Conductor, or if I really need to finish an OTK, like they only have a few thousand life points left, I can summon whatever I want to get the job done. Next, we're running 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. Now there's a lot of things that you can do with this deck. It makes it really, it's such a good going second card that it's a no-brainer to have in this deck, as it's a going second deck. Next, we're running 1 copy of Dino Wrestler Pank Raptors. Now obviously we'd run this card at 3, but it got limited to 1, which really heavily nerfed this deck since it was such a good card. But pretty much if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon this card once per turn, but really that doesn't matter anymore since it's got limited to 1. Next, we're running 2 copies of Giant Rex. Now let me tell you, this card is an absolute beast. Even though it can't attack directly, which is the only reason we're not running 3 copies of this card, if this card is banished, you could special summon this card, and if you do, this card gains 200 attack for each of your banished dinosaur monsters. Now combine this with Miscellaneous Saurus or even Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, and you can get another easy card out for free. By just banishing it, you're able to use the effects of those 2 cards, and then you can just special summon that straight away with even more attack. It's just such an overpowered card in this deck. Now for our hand traps, we're running 2 copies of DD Crow and then 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Obviously, we want our opponent to play as less as possible, as well as allowing us to get more combos off. If they get a few negates, we can be kind of screwed. So obviously these cards are really important in this deck. Next, we're running 1 copy of Petrodon
I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that, but pretty much if this card is destroyed by card effects and sent to the graveyard, special summon one level 4 or higher dinosaur monster from your deck, but it cannot attack this turn. So if this card is destroyed, you pretty much get a free dinosaur monster out. I don't know what's not to like about that. So it's a no-brainer to put in the deck. Next, we're running one copy of Babysaurus. Again, I don't know how to say it properly, but pretty much this card does the same thing, just you summon one level 4 or lower dinosaur monster from your deck. Now we're running one copy of Overtex Quotus. I'm sorry, again, I don't know how to say the name of that card. Now this card is really good. The only reason we're not running 3 copies is because if you draw it is a bit of a brick. It's definitely a card that you want to see later in the game. Once you've banished a few cards or whatever, pretty much this card cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by shuffling 5 of your banished dinosaur monsters into the deck. So again, some of those dinosaur monsters that you've banished, you're able to put back in your deck, so you know you can special summon them back from the deck, and you're not just running out of cards or whatever. And then also, it's also a negate. So when an opponent activates a spell or trap card, quick effect, you can destroy one dinosaur monster in your hands or face up on the field. And if you do, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can add one evolution pill spell from your graveyard to your hand. So also, if you lose the card, you're able to get an evolution pill, which is definitely a good card that we're going to talk about later. We're running 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. Now obviously this is a very expensive card. You don't have to run it at all. Obviously 3 copies is really good because we don't use the extra deck that much. Next, we're running 3 copies of Fossil Dig, which is add one level 6 or lower dinosaur monster from your deck to your hand. So this is pretty much just able to search for a level 4 dinosaur monster or anything under level 6, I guess, which is pretty much just a free card. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so next we're running 3 copies of Double Evolution Pill. As I said, this card can be searched. I forgot what card it was. By the other card, I can't pronounce its name. But this card's really good. Banish one dinosaur monster, add one non-dinosaur monster from your hand and or graveyard. Special summon one level 7 or higher dinosaur monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. You can only activate one Double Evolution Pill per turn. So pretty much this card can bring back one of your hand traps from your grave, and then it can special summon a Conductor Tyranno. Next, we're running 2 copies of Mind Control. I'm guessing I don't have to say anything about this. It's just an overpowered card. Next, we're running 2 copies of Cosmetic Cyclone. Now this card banishes spells or traps instead of destroying it, so it can get around a lot of card effects and just get rid of some spell and traps. Lost World is your field spell. Now this card is insane, okay? All monsters on the field lose 500 attack and defense except dinosaur monsters. Once per turn, if a dinosaur type monster is normal or special summoned, except during the damage step, you can special summon one Jurgen token, dinosaur type, earth, blah blah blah, to your opponent's field in defense position. While your opponent controls a token, they cannot target monsters on the field with card effects except tokens. Once per turn, if a normal monster on the field would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy that many dinosaur type monsters in your hand and or graveyard instead. So pretty much, your dinosaur monsters become indestructible, and they can't be targeted by card effects because they have to destroy all the tokens first. Running 1 copy of Terraforming, 1 copy of Foolish Burial, and that's it for the main deck. So the main deck contains 23 monsters and 17 spells, 0 trap cards. We don't run any trap cards in this deck. Now, if you guys want to buy this deck, it's in the description for 300 USD, not including Pot of Extravagance, literally the entire cost of the deck. Pot of Extravagance is $100 each, so if you want Pot of Extravagance, you don't have to pay an extra $300. But pretty much that includes the extra deck as well. This deck is not that expensive. We do up the price a tiny bit, so if you guys buy it from the link in the description, you will be paying a tiny bit more, but it will support us. Obviously, we don't really care where you buy it from. We do appreciate when you buy it from us. It helps the channel run. Also, if you guys haven't already, hitting that like and subscribe button down below also helps us continue to post videos, leaving a comment as well. But now let's go into the extra deck. So we're running running 2 copies of Yugioh Declan. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that. This requires 2 level 4 dinosaur type monsters, and its effect is really good. During either player's turn when a monster effect activates, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. So it's pretty much a Jackalope, and it's not once per turn, so you can just negate 2 monster effects. And if you're going first, if you get stuck going first, bring this out and you get 2 monster negates and get rid of those cards. So it's a really good card for going first, and even if you don't get the OTK, you could bring that out and then just stall your opponent for a little bit. Next, we're running 2 copies of Abyss Dweller. Obviously, you guys pretty much all know Abyss Dweller. Requires 2 level 4 monsters. Running 1 copy of Elza Lagia. Why are all these Dinosaur XEs monsters so hard to pronounce their names? Again, I probably butchered that name as well. But this card requires 2 level 4 dinosaur type monsters, and during either player's turn when a monster or monsters would be normal or special summoned, or a spell and trap card is activated, you can detach 2 XYZ materials from this card, negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So again, this is really good for just preventing your opponent from playing, getting a few negates on the board. Next, we got 1 copy of Super Naut Rail Cannon Gustav Max. Now, I'm sure you've all been finished by this card once or twice before. This card requires 2 level 10 monsters, which is your Conductor Dragon, and pretty much if you go double Conductor and you somehow don't get the win, then all you gotta do is XYZ into this in your main phase 2, and then you can detach 1 material from this card and inflict 2000 damage to your opponent, and it's a GG. Next, we're running 1 copy of Evil Swarm Execution Knight, 1 copy of Gargaga Cowboy. Now, once per turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, apply this effect depending on this card's current battle position. If the card is in attack position, if this card attacks an opponent's monster during this turn, it gains 1000 attack. Also, the opponent's monster loses 500 attack during the damage step only. And if it's in defense position, inflict 800 damage to your opponent. So again, if you can't get out Super Naut Rail Cannon Gustav, and they only have a tiny bit of life points left, if you can manage to get out Gaga Cowboy in defense position, you may be able to deal that extra 800 damage and get the win. 1 copy of Diamond Direwolf. Now again, this is a 2 level 4 XEs monster. Once per turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, then target 1 beast, warrior, or winged beast warrior type monster that you control, and 1 other card in your field, destroy them. We're running 1 copy of Tornado Dragon, again another rank 4 XEs. 1 copy of Penistage. Now this is a 2 link monster that's really easy to get out. Again, it only requires 2 effect monsters. 1 copy of Nightmare Cerberus, as well as 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix. Running 1 copy of Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. Now obviously we're running 1 copy of, 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. So if you're able to get a Cyber Dragon out, then you're able to instantly clear your opponent's link monsters if they got what's his name? Bow of the Goddess, or they've got Borosaur Dragon, or just something that's giving you trouble and you can't get out anything good like Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. All you gotta do is send that out, and then you get them away, you get a nice little 2400 beta. Next, we're running 1 copy of Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. Now if you're playing a machine deck, that's really the only time you get this card out. If you're playing a machine deck and you get a Cyber Dragon on the field, or you're playing Cyber Dragon and they got a Cyber Dragon on the field and you're the first one to summon it, GG, say goodbye. It's just a nice little safety to have. Again, a lot of the time this deck can lose to Cyber Dragon for some reason. I don't know, the times that I've been playing it, I didn't lose a lot, but I did lose twice to Cyber Dragon. So, that's something to think about. This card is a safety for any machine type decks.
Okay, so that's the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed that video, please hit that like, subscribe button. As we said, comment down below what's your favorite card in this deck. Mine personally obviously has to be Conductor. Conductor is just the best card. It's that simple, coach. But either way, as I said, like, subscribe, we out. See ya.